Coming up, the movie Chaos Walking is having moviegoers walking out of the theater. Hey everybody, welcome back to Movie Night at Harry's. Today we're talking about Chaos Walking. For the past couple years now, this movie was considered unreleasable. If you search for this movie online, that's one of the only words that you're gonna see. Unreleasable, unmakeable, undoable. There were a lot of issues going on behind the scenes, tons of delays, they had to do reshoots. All the while, Lionsgate, who is the producer of this movie, spent millions of dollars trying to keep this thing alive. It seemed like this movie was just not going to make it or be seen ever. Fast forward to the first week of March, the movie is finally released, and it was bad. I mean, I saw the trailers, I saw the lineup, Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley, Mads Mikkelsen, Nick Jonas. I mean, those are some great headliners. The trailers seemed really cool, really interesting, so I was kind of excited to see this movie. Before we get to all the bad stuff, there's got to be some good here, right? What they show you in the trailer, and actually was the most interesting part to me, at least in the movie, was the overall concept that your thoughts could be heard out loud. You see this throughout the movie. Anytime there's a blue wisp or sort of spark, someone's thought is being heard out loud. It's a really cool concept that makes for a lot of great interactions between the characters. You have some awkward moments, you have some funny moments. It really is just a cool sort of what if, What if someone could hear my thoughts? What if someone could know my emotions and my reactions to things in real time without actually having to say anything? Another one of the few positives from this movie gotta be the visual effects. The way that they seamlessly use the sparks and the wisp to show people's thoughts is really smooth, it's really clean, it's super easy to see. One of the only other positives from this movie that I can think of would be Tom Holland's performance. People are super familiar with him playing Spider-Man, the funny, the young, the super relatable type character. He plays that same sort of role in this movie. He has a lot of funny interactions with Daisy Ridley's character. His performance is another one of those positives that I could take away from this. So the concept is really cool and it provides a lot of great interactions between the characters, but it is never explained at all. This movie is based on a book, and I'm sure that idea is really fleshed out well in the book. I haven't read it. Can't read. It's not fleshed out, it's not spelled out. We get no explanation as to how this thing works, where it came from, why it's happening. It's one of the big questions that I still have walking out from that movie. Accidental pun. The acting in this movie is okay. I mean, let's go over the cast one more time, okay? Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley, Mads Mikkelsen, and Nick Jonas. Great lead characters, great supporting cast. They just don't do much with them. It's kind of weird that one of your main characters can be so unlikable. Daisy Ridley, despite what you think of her in the Star Wars trilogy, which I could say a lot about. This isn't the time or the place. But even her character is really underdeveloped in this. She plays one of the main driving factors behind the plot of the movie. Her relationship to Tom Holland's character and her impact on him is really a driving factor in this movie. And she's just another character in this story that has no arc whatsoever, has no real development as a character, no real change. Unfortunately, the most interesting part about Mads Mikkelsen's character was his massive fur coat. I mean, he looked like a baller throughout the entire movie, and I made several comments about the coat. I mean, it was dope, I gotta admit. That was the only thing that was interesting about his character at all. Nick Jonas's character was really underdeveloped, really underused in this movie. There were a lot of scenarios that he really could have been used to push the story along, but they just sort of held him back. And I think that's the thing with a lot of the characters in this movie, is that they're just held back. They're not allowed to push the story forward in any way, and there's just a lack of depth with the main characters, the side characters. The lore over the entire story is very underdeveloped, and that's unfortunate because, like I said, it's a really great concept. You've got a great lineup of actors and actresses that you can use at your disposal. It just fell flat. Overall, I'd give this movie a D+. The concept is really cool, but the characters are very underdeveloped, and you will leave with more questions than answers. So here's a cool story for you. I actually saw this one in theaters. I went to the Grand Theater on Johnson Street. I'm pointing because you know what direction that is. The theater that I saw it in, something was wrong with the surround sound. I was like, I am not going to watch this entire movie with jacked up surround sound. So I got up, I went and told an employee, I was like, hey, there's got to be something wrong here. I'm not crazy. Well, maybe I am crazy, but there's something wrong here. This does not sound right. So we watched the entire movie. We're walking down the stairs to leave, and some of the employees come up to us and they say, hey. The audio was definitely jacked up that entire movie. Here you go. You get a ticket. Here's a free ticket to your next movie. Thanks for telling us the sound was jacked up. I was like, I did not know that this existed. Thanks. I mean, it's really cool. It's super generous. But I had no clue that they actually had something like this. And I wasn't crazy. The sound was jacked up. So I think the lesson of the story is go see a really bad movie, complain about it, and get a free ticket to your next one. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. And now I'm going to walk out of this chaos. Pun intended.